It is a universally frustrating moment that every cat owner knows intimately. You are sitting at your desk, bathed in the harsh glow of the monitor. The deadline is looming, the pressure is mounting, and you are in the middle of drafting an incredibly important email. Your fingers are flying across the keys in a rhythm of pure focus, and then, out of nowhere, a silent shadow steps into your peripheral vision. Before you can even react, your cat marches directly across the keyboard, casually deletes an entire paragraph you just spent 10 minutes perfecting, and then settles down right on top of the keys. They tuck their paws in, close their eyes, and begin to purr. The immediate human assumption in this scenario is almost always negative. We assume the cat is just being annoying. We think they are begging for attention in the most obnoxious way possible, or perhaps even actively trying to sabotage our work out of spite. It feels like a battle of wills between you and a creature that simply refuses to respect your personal space. But what if everything you thought you knew about this infuriating behavior was completely wrong? The reality of why your cat chooses that exact glowing, clicking plastic rectangle over the expensive plush bed you bought for them is not about annoyance at all. The keyboard is actually a powerful biological and emotional magnet for felines. It draws them in through a complex web of instincts, sensory needs, and deep-seated affection. We are going to walk through 15 shocking, instinctual, and profoundly touching reasons why your cat physically inserts themselves into your digital world. By the end of this, you will never look at that furry roadblock the same way again. The first reason has to do with a fascinating behavioral concept known as the hunting mirror. Cats are highly social creatures, despite their reputation for aloofness. In the wild, feral colonies and wildcat families operate on a system of shared activities. They mimic the behaviors of those they consider to be the leaders or the most important members of their pack. Now, think about how you look when you are typing. You are staring intensely at a single focal point. Your eyes are locked, your body is relatively still, but your fingers are making rapid, precise, and calculated movements. To a feline brain, which is hardwired to detect the slightest twitch of a mouse in the grass, your intense focus and darting fingers look exactly like hunting. You are tracking something. You are engaged in a high-stakes activity. When your cat steps onto the keyboard and sits down, they are not trying to stop you from hunting. They are actually trying to join the hunt. They want to be involved in whatever critical survival task has captured their favorite human's attention. But there is a second layer to this attraction, and it is entirely invisible to the human eye. It comes down to the complex science of scent. We often forget that cats experience the world primarily through their noses. To them, a room is not just a visual space, it is a rich, three-dimensional tapestry of odors. Your keyboard is essentially a biological trap for your unique human olfactory signature. Think about it. You touch those keys for hours every single day. The natural oils from your fingertips, the microscopic skin cells, the subtle sweat of a stressful workday. It all gets pressed into the plastic. Your keyboard becomes one of the most highly concentrated areas of your specific scent in the entire house. When your cat is feeling vulnerable, tired, or simply in need of comfort, they seek out the places that smell most strongly of you. Laying on the keyboard is the olfactory equivalent of wrapping themselves in a blanket that smells like their mother. Then we have the third reality, the pursuit of perfect thermoregulation. It is a biological fact that a cat's basal body temperature is significantly higher than ours, naturally hovering somewhere between 100.5 and 102.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Because their internal furnace runs so hot, they have to expend a massive amount of caloric energy just to maintain that baseline temperature, especially in a modern, air-conditioned home that feels comfortable to you, but slightly chilly to them. Laptops and desktop keyboards emit a steady, predictable mechanical heat. The motherboard warms up, the battery radiates a gentle glow, and the exhaust fans push out a steady stream of hot air. To a cat, this artificial thermal oasis perfectly mimics the comforting warmth of a sunbeam hitting a rock, or the radiant heat of a mother cat's belly. They sit on your keys simply to borrow a little bit of external heat, allowing their own internal engine to rest for a while. The fourth reason shifts from passive comfort to active claiming. You have probably noticed your cat rubbing their cheek against the sharp corner of your monitor, or dragging their jawline along the edge of the keyboard before they finally settle down. Humans often mistake this for the cat just scratching an itch. In reality, this is a highly sophisticated form of territorial marking. Cats have specialized scent glands located in their cheeks, lips, and forehead. These glands secrete pheromones, which are chemical messages used to communicate ownership and familiarity. When your cat sees you dedicating hours of your undivided attention to this strange, glowing machine, they feel the instinctual need to claim it. By rubbing their face on it and sitting on it, they are deploying a chemical signature over your workspace. They are essentially stamping the device with a biological tag that says, "This object belongs to my pack," and more importantly, the human using it is mine. The fifth reason reveals your cat as a highly sensitive biological monitor. We severely underestimate how attuned cats are to our physiological changes. When you are working on a difficult task or reading a stressful email, your body reacts. Your heart rate elevates slightly, your breathing becomes shallower and more rapid, your muscles tense, and you might even begin to perspire subtly, releasing stress hormones like cortisol into the air around you. You might not even realize you are stressed, but your cat does. Their acute senses pick up on these microscopic shifts in your biology. Often, when a cat suddenly intrudes on your workspace and steps onto the keys, they are executing a stress interrupt. They recognize that their packmate is experiencing distress, and they physically intervene to force a break. They place their warm, purring body under your hands to pull you out of the spiral of anxiety, acting as a living, breathing, emotional regulator. Reason number 6 taps into the deep ancestral survival psychology of the high ground. Even the most pampered house cat carries the genetic memory of the African wildcat. In the wild, survival depends on being able to see danger before it sees you, which is why cats naturally seek elevated vantage points. Your desk is essentially a broad, flat tree branch that overlooks the territory of your office or bedroom. But more importantly, when you are staring at a screen, you are completely oblivious to your surroundings. You are deaf and blind to the room behind you. By sitting on the desk, right between you and the open room, your cat is acting as a living alarm system. They are taking the high ground to guard your vulnerable, distracted state. They are watching your back while your mind is lost in the digital world. The 7th reason is all about tactile vibration. A computer is not a silent, dead object. It is alive with kinetic energy. The mechanical click of the keyboard switches, the subtle whir of the cooling fans, the microscopic hum of the hard drive spinning, all of these create a continuous, low-level vibration. Interestingly, the frequencies of these mechanical hums often fall into a similar range as a feline purr, which vibrates between 25 and 150 Hz. Cats find these specific frequencies incredibly soothing. When they press their chest and belly against the chassis of your laptop or the surface of your mechanical keyboard, they are absorbing those rhythmic vibrations. It resonates through their bones in a way that feels deeply calming, mimicking the sensation of sleeping next to a purring companion. Reason 8 explores the fascinating phenomenon of schedule synchronization. By nature, cats are crepuscular creatures. This means their internal biological clocks are hardwired to make them most active during the twilight hours of dawn and dusk, when their natural prey would be moving. The middle of the day is supposed to be reserved for deep, restorative sleep. However, domestic cats are incredibly adaptable, and they love their humans. Many cats will actively suppress their natural circadian rhythms to match your 9-to-5 work schedule. If you are anchored to your desk for 8 hours a day, they want to be anchored there with you. They choose to be awake, present, and occupying your keyboard during the exact hours you are working, sacrificing their own instinctual sleep cycle just to ensure they are sharing your timeline. This brings us to the 9th reason, which is perhaps the ultimate signal of feline trust. It can feel incredibly dismissive when your cat jumps onto your keyboard, steps on your fingers, and then turns their back to you, staring blankly at the screen or out into the room. It feels rude. But in the language of feline behavior, turning their back on you is the highest compliment they can pay. A cat's back is their blind spot. It is the most vulnerable position they can take. By sitting on your keyboard and facing away from you, they are proving that they trust you completely. They are confident that you will not attack them from behind, and they are taking up a defensive posture to watch the front while you, presumably, watch the rear. It is a profound declaration of absolute safety in your presence. Reason 10 dives into the concept of social eating and shared focus. In feral colonies, resources are shared and activities are communal. When one cat is intensely focused on something, others will often gather around to participate or observe, ensuring the pack stays together during critical moments. Your cat does not understand what a spreadsheet is. They do not comprehend the concept of a Zoom meeting. All they know is that this glowing square is the most important resource in the room right now, because it has captured your total attention. By inserting themselves into your workspace and lounging on the keys, they are participating in a communal activity. They are sharing the focus. They are making sure that even though you are mentally far away, the pack remains physically united. Reason 11 deals with the micro-movement trigger. We talked earlier about the hunting mirror, but there is a more immediate, visceral reaction happening when you type. The rapid, erratic tapping of your fingers across the keys is incredibly stimulating to a predator's brain. To a cat, your fingers look exactly like a cluster of small mice darting in and out of burrows. This rapid movement activates their latent prey drive. But because you are their trusted human, they do not usually attack with full force. Instead, sitting on the keys is a way to safely monitor and control these erratic movements. They pin the keyboard down with their body weight, placing themselves right on top of the prey to keep it contained, satisfying their predatory urges without actually having to bite your hands. The 12th reason unpacks the attention economy and pack hierarchy. Cats are subtle masters of social dynamics. They do not bark or physically overpower you to show dominance like a dog might. Instead, they use physical placement. By deliberately walking across the keys and placing their body directly between your eyes and the screen, they are gently but firmly asserting their priority in your life. It is a soft power move. They are reminding you of the social order. The screen may be important, but they are a living, breathing member of your family, and they are demanding that you acknowledge their presence. It is their way of saying that no digital task is more important than the physical bond you share. Reason 13 focuses on the feline instinct to combat isolation. When you are deeply engrossed in a computer screen, you enter a sort of trance. You stop talking, you stop moving your body, and your facial expressions become flat. To a cat, who relies on constant physical and vocal feedback to gauge the mood of the room, your intense focus feels like a form of social isolation. You have mentally left the room. They invade the keyboard to break that trance. They want to pull you back into the physical world. They refuse to let you sit alone in your digital tunnel, isolated from the reality of the room. Their intrusion is a rescue mission, bringing you back to the present moment. Reason 14 looks at the beautiful, slightly messy concept of the chemical blend of identities. Have you ever noticed that once a cat settles onto your keyboard, they often start grooming themselves? They lick their paws, wash their face, and clean their fur, all while draped over your spacebar. This is not just about hygiene. When cats groom themselves in a space that smells heavily of you, like your keyboard, they are actively mixing their scent with yours. The saliva transfers to the keys, mingling with the oils from your fingertips. In the wild, cats in the same colony will groom each other to create a single, unified, family odor. By washing themselves on your keyboard, they are blending your identities together. They are creating a communal scent profile that reinforces the bond, ensuring that the workspace smells like us rather than just you. And finally, we arrive at reason 15. This is the emotional climax of the entire behavior, and it is the concept of emotional grounding. We spend so much of our lives stressed, rushing from one digital task to the next, staring at screens, answering emails, and worrying about things that exist entirely in the virtual world. We disconnect from our bodies. We forget to breathe deeply. We lose touch with the tangible reality around us. When your cat walks across your keyboard and deletes that paragraph, when they force you to stop typing and look at them, they are not an interruption to your life. They are a profound reminder to actually live it. They are forcing you to pause, to feel the softness of their fur, to hear the deep, rhythmic rumble of their purr, to experience a moment of pure, uncomplicated connection with a creature that loves you entirely. They are grounding you in the present moment, pulling you out of your digital anxieties and reminding you of what is actually real and tangible in your home. We elevate this everyday annoyance into a profound act of love and gratitude. So, the next time you are working late and that familiar shadow steps onto your keys, do not push them away in frustration. Do not see that furry roadblock as a nuisance. Instead, recognize the incredible complexity of instincts, trust, and affection that brought them to that exact spot. Take a breath. Let the email wait for just 5 minutes. And stroke the creature that loves you enough to disrupt your entire world. But if you think their obsession with your keyboard is fascinating, wait until you discover why they insist on following you into the bathroom every single time you close the door. The answer to that mystery goes deeper into their survival instincts than you could ever imagine.